So you've just been dismissed from your job. Right now, you're facing a really critical decision. And honestly, you have to make it fast. In the next few minutes, we're going to give you the clarity you need to answer one huge question. Which claim is the right one for you? Okay, this is the number that matters more than anything else to you right now, 21. That is exactly how many days you have to lodge a claim with the Fair Work Commission. And let me be clear, this is not a suggestion, it's a strict, heavily enforced deadline. Your clock has already started ticking. And the stakes? They honestly couldn't be higher. Getting this decision wrong is a really common mistake, but it has absolutely massive consequences. If you choose the wrong path, unfair dismissal instead of general protections or vice versa, your entire case could get thrown out before it's even really heard. So let's talk about that 21-day countdown. We get it. Losing a job is incredibly stressful. You're probably feeling confused, maybe you're angry, and you're under this immense pressure to figure it all out on your own. That pressure is exactly what we're here to help you with. Look, you could try to wade through all the official resources, like the Fair Work Commission's guides, but man, they can be really dense and just plain overwhelming. So we're going to cut right through all that complexity and give you some real clarity on the fundamental difference between your two main options. All right, so what's the first path you could take? Well, this one all comes down to a single question. Was the process of your dismissal fair? An unfair dismissal claim is all about how you were let go. The big legal question they ask is whether the dismissal was harsh, unjust, or unreasonable. This means the focus is almost entirely on the process your employer followed, not necessarily the reason they gave for firing you. Now, hold on, because not everyone can actually make this claim. There are a few boxes you have to tick. First, you need to have been employed for a minimum period of time. That's usually 6 months or 12 if it's a small business. You also generally need to be earning less than the high income threshold. And finally, your dismissal can't have been what's called a genuine redundancy.
So what does unfair actually look like? Well, it could mean your employer just didn't have a valid reason to fire you. Or maybe they had a reason, but they completely failed to follow a fair process. Like they never gave you a warning or even a chance to explain your side of the story. And sometimes the dismissal is just a ridiculously over-the-top reaction to something minor.
But what if the process seemed okay on the surface, but the real reason you were fired just feels wrong? Well, that brings us to path number 2. And here, we're not talking about fairness anymore. We're talking about whether your dismissal was straight up unlawful. This is what's called a general protections claim. It is not about the process, it is all about their reason. This applies when your employer takes adverse action against you for a prohibited reason. An adverse action isn't just about being fired. It could be a demotion, cutting your hours, any kind of negative treatment, really. So, what counts as a prohibited reason? Well, the first big category is all about you exercising a basic workplace right. For example, being fired right after you took legitimate sick leave, or maybe after you made a complaint about something, or raised a safety issue. You are legally protected when you do these things, and being punished for them is illegal. The second major category of prohibited reasons is discrimination. This is huge. If you believe the real reason you were let go was tied to your race, your age, your gender, a disability, or maybe because you were pregnant or had family responsibilities to take care of, that is an unlawful dismissal, and it falls squarely under general protections. Now, this is a really, really important point, so listen up. A huge advantage of a general protections claim is that there is no minimum employment period and no high income cap. This makes it a vital option for so many people who wouldn't be eligible for an unfair dismissal claim.
Okay, so we've looked at the two very different paths you can take. Now let's put them side by side to make this whole decision crystal clear.
Let's just boil this all down. For unfair dismissal, the entire focus is on the process. The question you have to ask yourself is, was it fair? But for general protections, the focus is all on the reason. And the question here is, was it unlawful? So when you think about what happened to you, are you challenging how they did it or why they did it? That's the core of your decision right there. Just take a second and think about your own situation. Was the process they followed harsh, unjust, or unreasonable? Or do you have this gut feeling that you were actually targeted for a prohibited, unlawful reason? The answer to that question points you directly to your correct path. All right, once you have more clarity on which path feels right, it's time to make a plan. Let's talk about what you need to do next, right now. It is completely normal to feel confused, angry, maybe even a little embarrassed right now, but you absolutely cannot let those feelings paralyze you. It is so important that you act quickly to protect your rights and your reputation. So here's your game plan. It's just 3 simple steps. First, based on what we've just talked about, identify your most likely path. Second, get some expert advice just to confirm you've made the right choice. And third, and this is the most important one, lodge that claim immediately so you do not miss that 21-day deadline. The most important thing to remember is that you do not have to figure this out alone. There are experts out there, like the team at Australian Workplace Discrimination Representatives, who offer a free, confidential chat just to confirm your path. Remember, that 21-day deadline is non-negotiable, so there is absolutely no time to waste. Make the call, get the advice you need, and take that first step today.